Welcome back. OK, we'll find out what happens in the race in part 3 of the show. But first, Matt's been making a new friend, possibly his first.
I've got a new hero in my life. And this is the man. Congratulations, Bushy has just set a brand new world record. Tell us, what's the actual record called? It's longest distance over 24 hours.
It's the longest distance by an individual on a motorcycle in 24 hours.
OK, the previous record was
3,249.9.
OK,
set by an American in Texas.
OK, and how much did you beat it by? 3,000, you must have smashed it, surely.
Yeah, no, we beat it by 7.5 Ks.
Wow! After 24 hours and over 3,000 kilometres, it comes down to, in old money, under about 4.5 miles.
Yeah,
that's absolutely incredible. Yeah. OK, so let's work out. I think when we spoke to Bushy a couple of weeks ago, you might remember, he was very confident, and so were we. And I think we both thought that he would break the record quite significantly. So let's go back to the beginning. You started at midnight, didn't you?
Yes, I started on Tuesday night on the 8th.
Okay.
0-100.
And what was the idea again about going at midnight?
Well, to get the night section, the worst section out of the way, and then do the whole day. We've got the whole day to do it in, and then that last section at night to midnight. OK, so how did progress go? This is at Pakisa, by the way, so he's using the oval, remember. It's in an anti-clockwise direction, isn't it? Yes, correct.
OK,
yes.
So you set off in the middle of the night. What's the weather like?
Absolutely brilliant. And we had a full moon that night. I didn't plan it that way.
It's all right, you're allowed to say you didn't plan it.
Well, yeah, there was an absolute... And it was so bright that you could actually switch your lights off.
Wow.
It was that good. And then it went very well, and I was, by 9 o'clock in the morning, I was probably an hour ahead of time.
OK.
And then the wind picked up. And I don't know if you know the wind there at Pakisa, you probably know it pretty well. And it pumped for a good 10 hours. And we pushed through that wind.
OK, so what is the wind doing to you on the bike? Apart from the buffeting, does it bring your speed down? Was the wind that bad that you had to back off a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely.
OK, was it gusting, blustery, or was it a constant wind? And I presume, remember that Bushy's doing a circle, so at some points in the track is a headwind, some points it's a tailwind, then a crosswind.
Correct. And you've also got that wall with that fence up. OK, not that the fence is going to stop the wind, but there's 3 sections where you cross the track. And where you're crossing the track, that's where the wind is blowing through, and you just... And if you're sitting at just over 200 and that wind, it takes you where you want to go. You've got to hold on, and also it just drains all the energy out of you. So by 6 o'clock that night, I was pretty much really tired.
So when you're going around Bushy, you're obviously on almost a constant left-hander. I'm intrigued, is it all throttle on and roll off, or are you using the brakes anywhere?
Absolutely no brakes. I'm just using, there's so much power in this thing that you can use engine braking.
Before we get through the 24 hours, let's talk about the bike. Honda Cross Tourer, this is a V4 1200. Did it chew the gas or what?
Yes, understandably, yes.
Because you are pinned.
Because you're pinned,
yeah.
And also the wind factor.
OK, the tyres, Pirelli were good enough to support you. How many did you get through?
We got through about 14 tyres out of the 10 sets that
And that's not an equal split, is it? More rears, I presume, than fronts?
Yes, much. You know, there was about 5 fronts and the rest was rears.
OK, so how long are your rears lasting? I suppose if I could do maths, I could work it out.
Probably about 300, 350, sometimes 400.
Now, if you made it by 7.5 kilometres, I mean, that last hour or so, your last stint must have been...
They brought up, we had a big 47-inch TV screen right next to the track, and I'd have a ghost rider and myself to see exactly where you are at any one stage.
Oh, wow.
And also the amount of laps you've done and where you are on track and all that. And I was sort of there, but not thereabouts. And with 72 laps to go, they basically took all that off and they just did a countdown. And yeah, I tell you, you were just wishing for that 72 laps to end, and you just count them down in your mind.
How far is a lap, Bushy, of the track?
2.5. I think it's 108. Well, 2.5. It's good enough.
Okay, so you basically got away with doing about three or so laps more than you needed to. 3 laps
is exactly what I did. Over the...
Wow, how close could it possibly be? Were you beginning to panic, or...?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a lot of stuff that goes into this. It's a lot of sponsorship and everything that goes into something like this, and you don't want to come back again and redo this whole thing.
What I like about this, it's not just about pushing Bushy himself. There is a decent cause behind it, and who were you raising money for?
The whole reason why I did this whole thing, Matt, is, you know, and all the things that I do is to raise money for charity. And in this event that I did, It was for multiple sclerosis South Africa, and they've got an SMS line out there.
You'll give us that, because listen, I mean, maybe you didn't SMS in and bung him 25 rand beforehand, shame on you, but now you've got a chance. The line's still open, isn't it? Tell us.
Absolutely, yes, it's going to be open for a while still yet to come. You can SMS the word orange to 41000.
Okay, orange 41000. It's there on the screen now. Go on, I know you're feeling generous. What he's done is set a brand new world record for South Africa. Absolutely superb. Let's have a quick run through of the people who supported you, because they do deserve a mention.
Absolutely, Matt. You know, you can't do this without sponsorship, and Honda South Africa, Pirelli, Mercedes-Benz for the transport, 2 buses to take up there, race food.
Guys at Pekisa helped you out.
The guys at Pekisa, you know, they've sponsored the track. It just goes on, and trust me. And also, very, very important, is also the team behind me.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
your pit crew.
Yeah.
They work hard, eh?
Yeah.
And they
always the unsung heroes.
Yeah, and they're the ones that don't get the mention.
Yeah.
And trust me, thank you very much to them.
Well, you know who you are, guys. You've obviously done a brilliant job supporting him. I have to say, I mean, sponsorship, this is the perfect way of showing what your wares can do. Pirelli, I mean, wow, they lasted, even if it was only 400 k's at a time, but they were prepared to put their product out there. And likewise, Honda, V4, 1200cc, think of it as a tourer, but it's a damn fast tourer, isn't it, Bushy?
Brilliant bike, absolutely brilliant.
OK, one more handshake.
Absolutely, thank you.
We're going to flash up those sponsorship details again. Go on, SMS through, do a good thing, support this fella. We've got a world record that belongs to South Africa.
So the man did it, and let's not forget that he has no legs below the knee. He's completely amputated on both legs, but he wasn't going for a disabled record. This was an able-bodied record. He was making no issue about the fact that he's an amputee.
Yeah, we don't get to cut him any slack whatsoever, because he's got no legs, or he's got a fine fetching pair of carbon legs, they look like, and he moves around very well on them indeed. But yeah, it's a record for the able-bodied.
It is astounding. I mean, you think we've just done 8 hours, and you were looking a bit peaky after 1 or 2 of your sessions.
You think? I thought I was on the way out at one point, yeah.
24 hours
24
on your own.
hours.
Now, I know that last year he had terrible rain, which meant he crashed, lost a lot of time repairing the bike. This year there was no rain, but there was a whole load of wind.
Wind, and you know how it can blow down at Pekisa in the Free State? Yeah, that hammered him all the time. And it's just tiring, isn't it, over a long distance? And what got him even more is the fact it's the concentration for 24 hours going left. And what he didn't mention was actually at one point he'd be going left for so long he sort of went to left and disappeared off onto the grass. That woke him up, though, pretty effectively.
I'm sure he was probably quite wide-eyed after that.
He's over 200 k's an hour on a VFS, completely standard VFR 1200.
Straight off the showroom floor.
Harry didn't use a drop of oil, not a drop of oil.
That's impressive,
Absolutely incredible. Almost as incredible as this, which also, believe it or not, did not use a drop of oil in a full 8 hours of racing. Come back after the break and see how we got on or off.